Hey all, this is Apurva and welcome back to WeDesified. Do you dream about working in top tech companies like Google, Amazon or Facebook, but aren't really sure about the procedure or steps you need to take to achieve that dream? Well, today we have someone with us who came to United States for his masters from a non-technical background with an average GPA and GRE score and still bagged himself a job at Meta worth 1.5 crore rupees per year. We believe it will benefit all of you to learn about his journey and understand how he was able to do it. Because if someone can, then you too can. So let's go meet him. But before that, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you will be notified every time we upload a new video. Today we have with us Sai. A warm welcome, Sai. Thank you so much for doing this. Your journey is very inspiring and I'm sure your experience will help all of our international students. So tell me from the beginning, like what was your background like with respect to education back in India?
Thank you. Before even starting, I should really thank you, Apurva. I'm really happy and excited to share my story. So coming back to my educational background, way back in India, I did my bachelor's in civil engineering, not computer science. So after that, I've got an opportunity to work with Cognizant as a software developer, and I did there for 3 years. So after that, I've decided to do my master's since I want to. My knowledge in terms of software engineering got stale. So I've decided to do my master's, and today I'm here. I'm almost done with my master's, so I could say I'm done with my master's, and I'm excited and looking forward to work as a full-time software engineer at Meta.
Oh wow, that's so interesting. Like you did your undergrad in civil engineering but came here for masters in computer science. So what was your entire application process like for masters in US?
So I would say it's not pretty much different than other departments or normally people what they do to come to masters in US. So I just gave my GRE. And since I had enough of work experience, I think that really helped me to fill up my SOPs, and I just even gave IELTS. People do give TOEFL, so I gave IELTS. So after that, I have shortlisted few universities based on their research, and I applied few universities like Wright State and IUPOI, and my initial choice was Wright State, and then I applied, and so there is actually I actually applied for my fall semester in 2019. But my visas actually got rejected thrice. So that actually shifted my plan to do my master's in computer science at IUPI in upcoming spring. So yeah.
So like, can I ask you like what was the reason behind your visa getting rejected? Like did you try to find out the reason?
Yeah. So I did my groundwork. So I just checked out what might be the reason. So initially, since I'm actually switching my branch, I felt that could be one of the potential reasons. The things that I've calculated, I have 3 years of work experience, so that might not be an issue. So on the research that I have done, there is a little bit issue with my previous university that I have initially applied for. So that's not in my hand, right, in any way. So then I just moved on, trying thrice. And I actually suggest people not only applying directly to the universities. It's not only based on your research. Sometimes it depends on many factors. So if you feel you're not comfortable with the university because of the circumstances, I always suggest people to change the university. And in my case, I did that, switched my university to IUPUI. Yeah, that really helped me out.
So it's basically more about trying to do your homework about the university before just applying to that university just because you're getting scholarships, or if it's just because of word of mouth, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So Sai, I would also like to focus about your GRE. So you said you gave GRE and IELTS. Like how much did you score in GRE, and do you really think that GRE score is really important in getting that admit?
So I'm kind of much more average student, so I just scored like 299. I wouldn't say it's not that great score. So what I felt was GRE helps you to pitch into the universities, but I'm actually coming to US to do my master's in computer science. So computer science is different kind of field where your knowledge is actually open sourced. So I would personally say it's much more like GRE would help you out, but that would not give you a grade in terms of opportunities in after finishing your masters. Yeah, it do help, but it's not completely dependent on your GRE. Yeah.
Right. So for computer science, I think is it that the quantitative score is more important than, because that was happened with PhD
Uh-huh.
economics at least. They really don't care about your other verbal section, but they really do care about quantitative section.
Okay.
So is it the same for computer science as well?
It actually depends on the type of university you're applying. So if you take IUPUI, they actually cut down your both GRE, like GRE scores on quant and on your verbal. I think I have crossed that border. So
Okay.
even though I've got 299, they have picked me up. So, but they just see this as your initial entry of test. That's not much related to your computer science.
So Sai, tell us about your funding. Like, how did you fund your education? How did you fund your masters?
Yeah. So initially, I mean, I got an initial scholarship of $2,500. It's only for one time within the university, and I have got my education loan that actually funded my entire education expenses. And coming to the living, I did my RA and I also worked as an intern within the
Oh, wow.
university. So that really helped me out to fund for my living expenses. Yeah.
So like RA in the sense like the on-campus jobs. So
Yeah, it's
could you
on.
tell us, like, our viewers, about what all sorts of on-campus jobs did you do?
Yeah. So I think in terms of applying my on-campus jobs in particular, one really good thing I did was I was not committed to my department itself. So in my point of view, computer science it's not confined to a certain department. So even other departments like mechanical or even health informatics, they do need computer science students. So that's how I applied for all the departments. I could say I've mailed around like 100 plus professors within my experience, and luckily I got opted RA in IAC, which is called as Industrial Assessment Center at IUPUI. It comes under mechanical department. So there I worked as a web developer, and we used to do basic web applications using HTML and CSS and basic JavaScript. So after a year, I felt I should skill up using advanced technologies like React and Vue. So then applied for interns at Poly Center, which is like a non-profit organization, and it's actually funded by IUPUI.
Okay.
So luckily I went through that, and there I have learned a lot about React, Vue, and it added so much weightage on my resume. And yeah, and it really helped me through Facebook, because Facebook is actually creator of React. So that's
okay.
what I actually used in my in that company as well, and I've learned a lot on my front end.
So that's how the dots link.
Yeah, it's actually got connected. That's true.
Right, and I think the good takeaway point from this is that no matter what your department, when you are trying to find an on-campus job,
Yeah.
what you actually did, like you applied to all the departments and tried to find that research assistant.
Yeah, that's true. So I think like coming to United States, networking is much more important thing, not only to your real-time jobs or through your on-campus as well. So the actual connection has happened through referral. So like there is Desi Jacks over here. There I have seen a post where like IAC Professor Chen, department head of IAC, he actually needs someone who's good at web development. That's how I really went through that portal and have applied. And coming to the basic generic process, I've emailed through all the professors. So I used to go through the website and I used to see through their research, and if I really love their research, so I used to go there and I used to add up my experience, and I used to send a lot of emails. And our university also have the other ways of applying through on-campus jobs,
Right.
like JAG jobs, you could say.
Right.
And
Now Handshake.
yeah. Like Handshake as well. Yeah, now it's Handshake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the few resources, and it's hectic, but it's worth enough at the end.
Right, definitely. So Sai, can you tell us about what all courses you took in your masters? Like, how did you plan your study?
Yeah. So my initial plan was dealing with machine learning and a little bit towards software engineering. So I felt since I'm again starting from scratch, so even though I work for Cognizant, I've not learned much about development. So I went like with courses like advanced data structures and algorithms, so which would help me in terms of problem solving. And the other course I took was object-oriented design pattern. So where like we use it in daily life, being a software engineer. So after taking that, I felt that would help. Those courses would help me out too much on higher level, and I should get stronger at basics. So besides those courses, I've also enrolled few courses in Udemy. Not few, I've enrolled up to like 10 plus courses till now. So what for every semester, apart from my education courses that I do on my masters, I also enroll few courses on Udemy. So I planned in such a way that I focused much on problem solving. So I used websites like LeetCode to get stronger in problem solving. And my master's degree also helped me to understanding scalable systems. Since I'm not in undergrad, I'm in master, so we'll have all top level courses.
Right.
So the combination of these two really helped me out. And but if you ask me about my time split up, I've spent around like 40% on my courses and 60% on my own learning or the side projects. Yeah.
So like coming from a civil background, that is like a non-technical background, did you find a master's in computer science, that too in United States, like the country is also different, so how did you find it? Was it difficult? Was it easy? Like what was it like?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. So coming from other like different background, if I had come directly from a bachelor's, I think it gonna be terrible. Because of a couple of reasons. So if I was directly coming over here, I don't know which path I should be choosing, like software engineering. So I might have overwhelmed with a lot of knowledge that I would be getting over here. And if I was not having work experience in particular, I would have focused more on GPA. So since I worked for 3 years, my perspective on GPA has even changed. So I'm a quite 3-pointer out of 4, and that really helped me to get my degree. And because of that perspective, I think I don't feel it's much stressful. My degree was much stressful, but it's harder because I've put a lot of time on learning things. And as I said previously, I've took my own courses and I need to complete my master's courses as well. Yeah, it's not stressful, but I enjoyed a lot of things I did, but it's harder in one perspective.
Right. So you talked about you got like an average 3-point kind of GPA. So how much GPA do you think really matters in applying for jobs and getting jobs?
So it's very versatile. Like based on GPA and stuff. So GPA is quite needed. So to at least get your degree. But in terms of applications to the job and stuff, so they don't really have a separate column like GPA. And there are few companies still they would be asking you need to have like 3 GPA, because even they knew if you get 3 GPA only you're gonna get your masters. So in terms of your like applications to your job, it's not quite much more important. So, and even though if you take a general interview process, they're going to test your problem solving skills, at least for software engineering or any other fields like machine learning, and if you're good at communication, and if you're a very good team player.
Right.
So yeah.
So then maybe GPA really matters with respect to jobs with like academics or more research oriented.
Yeah. So if you're going towards research oriented,
right.
After your masters, for sure you're gonna apply for universities.
Yeah.
So there is a way for universities to filter through the applications. So if you're going to research, if you're applying for PhDs and stuff, your GPA really matters. So you should focus on your GPA and it would help you out. But if your path is same as mine, like getting into some job like into software engineering, it may be into FAANG companies. So it would not bother much. So, and even I'm a bit more skeptical to say that it's important, but it's not everything.
Right. That's a great advice, and first of all, congratulations to you for getting a job in Facebook, which is now called as Meta. And could you please tell us about the timeline as to when did you start actually applying for these jobs and preparations in general?
Yeah. So I would like to divide my whole timeline that I've spent. So like you have this application process that you should be applying for the companies, and before that you need to do your homework. When I say homework, your resume should be ready, and you should be skilled up with all these things, and you should be having get ready with your problem solving skills. So I've almost spent around like 12 to 14 months on hitting up all these things, and luckily I got my RA, and I have an intern on campus, so that filled up my resume. So after that, I took 8 months to start building my connections, and I have used LinkedIn and RAM. It's an interviewing website. So I have built a lot of connections, and I used to go and ask for referrals. So, and I used to talk to people, and I used to get back to know their experience and their job. I used to look for a lot of videos on job interviews as well. So it took me solid 8 months, and I applied for almost like 500 plus companies within this 8 months.
Oh, wow.
And I interviewed in like 20 plus companies, including startups and FAANG companies. And so that's my overall journey, and I would say like it took a solid of 8 months so to finish up my whole interview process before my preparation, after my preparation.
So Sai, you talked about this pram. So could you please tell us more about what exactly it is?
Yeah, sure. So that's one of the key thing that really helped me out to even get into Facebook. So it's a free type platform that's actually provided on the internet. So people could get connected, and people like us who are actually studying and people who are already working will be on the pram, and that would help you to share your experience and to get back to know their experience. And at the end of the day, when you're interviewing interviewing, you'll be interviewing with the real people.
Right.
So that it would actually simulate the same kind of scenario, and it would teach you how to speak, and it will help you in behavioral, and it would help you to work down within the time constraint. So I think I've almost done like 400 plus interviews on Pram. Since it's free, I've utilized it to the utmost extent. and to add on to the Pram, I just got a referral for the Facebook, and I met that guy on Pram.
Oh,
So we became good friends, and we started practicing, and even now he works at Facebook. His name is John, and yeah, so it really helped me out. And I would suggest like each and everyone, since it's free, it really helps students like me and the people who are already doing masters. Yeah.
that's a great advice. You got into Facebook because of this referral. So how does these referrals work?
Yeah, so there is wide perspective when, in terms of India and over here. So there'll be some millions of applications that will be coming up. So in terms of like getting a referral or asking back, it's not like we cannot meet a random person on LinkedIn and just go ahead and hit up on referral. So there is a pattern that I followed actually. So if I meet some person on Pramp or LinkedIn, so my main motive was to speak to him and to know what he's actually doing rather than ask him directly on referral. So I would rather think if you're really worth enough, people are actually ready to help you out. Because it actually helps in two ways. If someone refers me, or if I refer someone, and if they get into company, I'd be getting some bucks.
Right.
So, and my referral my referral intake would be higher. So I would like to refer a lot of people if they are really good at solving skills and if they're looking for jobs. So I would suggest like just go and you can connect to the people and know back their experience, and you can share what you're doing. I can take back some suggestions and feedback, and I think, as I said, Pramp would really help you out, and there are many people on LinkedIn. Yeah.
So that's a good advice, that don't just go and ask for referrals, right? Like connect with them and talk to them.
And I would actually think it in this way. So let's say if I'm going and asking back on the referral, so he really didn't work with me. So and why would some anonymous person who didn't even work with me, like how can he give referral back?
Right. Absolutely. That's a very good point. So was Meta your first big tech company?
Not really. So to be frank, that was my last big tech company that I have interviewed at.
Okay.
So probably I could say it was like 16th or 17th company, and before that I even interviewed at Amazon and Snapchat, Twitter, and DoorDash, where everyone are actually failures. But still I have learned something. So for instance, my failure at Amazon has taught me how important is behavioral. So I used to think only technical round would fetch you in, but no, it's because you're working in a team, that's much more important. And failing in DoorDash has helped me think that I'm not that good at problem solving, and Snapchat has taught me that I'm not good at front end. So I think all these experiences have really helped me out and fetched me out, and that even helped me out to get into Meta.
Right. So what differently did you do this time to get that job in Meta?
So since I had a lot of failures before even getting over here, so I had enough experience in terms of how to deal with the people and how important is behavioral. Like it's equally important to the technical part.
Right.
So I think one good thing that I really did with all my interviews is like I used to document everything. So I used to document every single connection that I would be getting. So let's say if I'm having interview within a couple of days, I used to refer those documents. So when I refer those documents, it will be actually popping up what mistake did I make, so that it would help me out. So since I have failures on different kinds of backgrounds like front end and behavioral, so I have got enough experience. I think that really helped me out to the Meta, and as I said, I did so much on Pramp. So and I vigorously used to do like 2 to 3 interviews a day before my like Meta interview. And anyway, like the overall interview process took like 3 months. So I had enough time in my hand, and that these things really helped me out.
Yeah, I think documenting is such a important thing to do, I feel like,
That's
because you grow personally. So you are comparing yourself and understanding what is going wrong, and you can actually improve with that. So I think that's a very good point here. So I would like to ask you about the entire Meta interview process. Like, how was it like?
Okay, sure. So the overall interview process took like 3 months. So like any big companies, they'll take like 3 months, and I have total of like 7 to 8 different rounds. So I had 5 rounds of problem solving. So they'll focus most on data structures and algorithms, so that's where they'll test you up. And I had one complete behavioral round because these companies, they think you should have some experience within your pocket before entering into any team. And I had one on design. So since I have even applied my front end roles and my experience was towards front end, so they just asked me a little bit of front end, and again it's more behavioral. So I would say it's combination of your behavioral and how good you are in terms of attitude and how good you are in terms of problem solving, and yeah, that's how it went.
Do you mind sharing with our viewers like how much compensation are you getting at
Yeah, so
Facebook?
I mean it's not pretty much straightforward. So it adds up my stocks that I'll be getting from Facebook and my initial base, and I even got the bonus. So rather than giving the accurate figure, I would say it would be between 180 and 220. Yeah, per year.
That's quite huge. Like in terms of Indian rupees, it comes to I think around 1.5
Yeah,
crores
it's
annually. So, all right. So yeah, I think you must be really excited for that one. So, what advice would you give students who are who want to come to US, apply for masters or PhD or undergrad? What advice would you give to them, and also the students who are already here and are in the process of applying for jobs?
Okay. So I want to really break this point into a few different sections, and when I really look back, so I think the initial step would be one should take, after coming to masters, you can take like a couple of months or 3 months to figure out what's you're really interested in. So in my perspective, take me an example. I came here to learn machine learning, then I've really fallen in love with software engineering. So I figured it out in 2 to 3 months. So that would be an initial step. And the second thing I would say is like always go for shorter term goals. So if I look back, I had like hundreds of interviews, at least in practice, and hundreds of solving questions, and many things that I have built up. It was really scary if I've said that I should be doing this as my target.
Right.
So I took very little steps, but when I look back, everything got connected. So I would say like being consistent and practicing it on every day, it would really pay off. Even though like it might be a smaller steps, but after a year, so it would be so great. And last and final, as I said, there is like a much more difference between India and US. You need to try to build as many healthier connections as you can. So it not only helps you to get into any certain role, but it will also teach you like how important is the job that you're taking in, and what are the few difficulties that you'd be facing with that. So like right amount of knowledge and having most healthier connections would really help you out. And if you're coming as a student, I would say just find out some RA job, or like research assistant job that is much more technical. So it would benefit you in 2 ways. So one thing is it would add up to your resume. Even though I worked for 3 years, it added up like 2 years of experience with master's degree. So I've total of like 5 years of work experience. And second thing, you'll have something to showcase on your resume. Rather than showing up your personal projects, which real world might not believe you, you'll have something to show. Right. So I think these pieces would help you out, and you might get a lot of failures. That's common. That even I went through them, but you want to learn something, and you should keep documenting everything. So I think this could really help anyone, and personally that helped me out to at least get into Meta.
Definitely. I'm sure your story is very inspiring, and all of our viewers are really motivated right now. So thank you so much, Sai, for doing this with us. I really appreciate it, and all the best, and wish you more and more success.
Sure.
If you like this video, if you think this video was helpful, then make sure you like and share our video. If you have any questions, then you can put it in the comments box below. We will reply and make videos answering all your questions. We will come up with more such interviews, so make sure you subscribe to our channel. Until next time, keep learning. Bye bye.